My name is Clara. I'm a 32-year-old part-time working mom. I married into a family that owns a renowned business corporation. Despite the surprising ease with how both families accepted our union, others were quick to label us a mismatch. But now, 5 years into our marriage, everyone watches over us with warmth. I feel truly cherished and it makes me grateful every day. This not only applies to my relationship with my husband, but with my in-laws as well. Especially my mother-in-law. She treats me just like her own daughter. Clara, darling, are you feeling all right these days? You look like you've lost some weight. I'm worried about you. Here, take this. Why don't you go out with that co-worker friend who visited the other day? What my mother-in-law handed me was a coupon for a popular steakhouse. I can't use these lunch vouchers because I usually eat at our company's cafeteria. It'd be a waste to let it go unused, so you enjoy. Even though I could go out with my father-in-law on my day off, my mother-in-law told me not to worry, so I wouldn't feel pressured. Nevertheless, the amount inscribed in the discount voucher was incredibly luxurious, something I usually wouldn't even think about. Moreover, I was gently informed that there was a dress code suggesting I dress up a bit. I initially hesitated but agreed to enjoy the generosity of my mother-in-law when she made a certain request. Wow! My friend and I, upon entering the restaurant, instinctively gasped in awe. The lawn counter made of a genuine marble and the highly polished iron plates were simply spectacular. This is amazing. Overwhelmed by the ambience of the restaurant, a man who appeared to be the chef warmly showed us to our seats across the counter. I've been told by your mother-in-law that I can freely exercise my culinary skills to your heart's content. May I? Encouraged by the chef's experienced demeanor, my friend and I silently nodded in agreement, feeling a bit relieved. After all, we had no idea what or how to order in such a high-end restaurant. Just as the madam said, I'm delighted to see you enjoy your meal so heartily. Please come again. One by one, the delicacies melted in our mouths, and my friend and I, satiated to the brim, breathed contented sighs. The chef watched us leave with a friendly smile. However, that was delicious, wasn't it? The waiter guided us to the exit, scornfully remarked, You don't even know what you're eating. What? Shocked, we thought we misheard, but then we heard the waiter mutter, Lunch with a discount voucher. You must have gotten it for cheap at some ticket shop or something. The waiter sneered at us, making us feel uneasy. Seriously, you ate a lot. It's disgusting. Seriously, spare me. Are you even a woman? Gross. His voice was low enough to be heard only by us, but it was unmistakably filled with malice. My friend turned red with embarrassment, bowing her head down. Whether or how we got the discount voucher or how much we ate is none of your business. I don't want to hear anything from you. Let's go. Frustrated and upset, my voice shook, but I made sure to say what needed to be said and then urged my friend to leave the restaurant. As it turns out, my friend and I hold national qualifications as certified garden management engineers, recognized by the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, Transport, and Tourism. We work in gardening, maintaining parks and roads, and working with greening initiatives. This might sound like a cute job, but it's quite physically demanding when you're out in the field. Our body is our capital. Unlike my slim husband, I can easily carry items weighing more than 20 kilos. Okay, I lied. Well, to confess, my husband can't bridal carry me, but I can lift him. Although we're not fat, we have firm muscles for women. We love our work, but we do have moments when we wish we could be bridal carried. It's a bit of a dilemma, we often joke. Because of our physical demands, we can eat more than twice the amount of food an average woman can. Of course, I love meat. I think the chef made our hearts flutter by saying, The madam told me you could enjoy the meal to your heart's content, and I'm glad you enjoyed your meal so much because my mother-in-law had told him about us. Still, the deliciousness of the food got the better of us, and we ate more than usual. However, being called disgusting was too much. My heart, which had been so excited just moments ago, suddenly felt deflated. I'm sorry, it's because I invited you. My friend, whose cheeks were still flushed with embarrassment, reassured me that it wasn't my fault, but I couldn't shake off my feelings. Moreover, I felt pathetic when I opened my bag to give a tissue to my friend who had teary eyes, and I discovered I seem to have left my handkerchief in the restaurant. It was a beloved handkerchief that my mother-in-law had given me as a gift. As I usually dressed in jeans and sneakers for work, I was nervous wearing an unfamiliar dress and pumps and had been holding the handkerchief all the time to hide my sweaty palms. I think I dropped it when I confronted the waiter. I'll go back and get it. The thought of encountering that waiter again was distasteful, but I didn't want to leave my precious handkerchief behind. However, the restaurant had closed for lunch by the time we returned. So my friend, who had come along with me, and I researched for the back door. Ah, there! We spotted the chef and the rude waiter near the back door. Even so, to have a customer get angry like that. Wasn't there some sort of rudeness? I said it many times. This is customer service. Depending on your attitude, even the owner's reputation, who is your father, could be affected. You need to be aware of that. Yeah. In response to the admonishing chef, the waiter maintained a sullen face, nonchalantly brushing off his advice. It seems that the waiter from before was the son of the owner of this restaurant. Excuse me for interrupting, but was there a handkerchief left behind today? Feeling guilty about eavesdropping even unintentionally, I quietly addressed them. The chef, as before, responded to me with a smile. Please apologize properly, he told the waiter. The chef, who had brought the handkerchief from inside, handed it to the waiter and encouraged him to apologize. However, while the chef was inside, the waiter, who had been grumbling things like, "Don't look at me, you scum," not only disobeyed the chef's instruction, but also crumpled up the handed handkerchief and threw it forcefully at my feet. Then, with loud footsteps, he walked back into the restaurant, leaving the flustered chef to apologize profusely to us, to the point where we felt embarrassed. A while later, I had another encounter with this waiter. You're really bottom tier, aren't you? Did you know that? It's obvious in this world that being skinny is ideal. Poor people like you have no demand except for outdoor jobs, and your bones get big, don't they? I bite my tongue hard to suppress my retort towards the waiter's scornful smile. In reality, the favor I was asked for my mother-in-law in exchange for the discount coupon was a proposal for indoor decorations that would suit the restaurant's atmosphere. Clara, you also have qualifications in garden decor, right? This restaurant is our business partner. I'd like you to work on it while you're dining there. Wouldn't that be great? It was a kind gesture from my mother-in-law and a delightful work proposal, but today was a discussion while observing actual plans for the arrangement. But I never expected him to be a part of it. Furthermore, he seemed to have tagged along for the inspection, and in the absence of the chef, who usually plays the role of the supervisor, he was more intrusive than ever. I've prepared materials over there, please take a look. He was pressuring me with a low voice, checking around to make sure no one was watching. Oh, not saying anything today? Well, you would be in trouble if you can't get a job from us, right? Please, over there. What? I'm saying this loud enough for you to hear because you're ignoring me. Despite his malicious words and delight in being unpleasant, I remained silent. As much as I hated to admit it, I didn't want to ruin a job opportunity introduced by my kind-hearted mother-in-law because of him. He left the scene with a laugh, shrugging his shoulders at my reaction. Hey Clara, I'm sorry for asking this only a month later, but is it okay to have the next birthday party at the steakhouse we went to last time? My mother-in-law asked me this with a slightly troubled look when my father-in-law's birthday was nearing. It was a family tradition that my mother-in-law wanted everyone to attend my father-in-law's birthday party once a year. All three brothers, their families, and I regularly meet as we all get along well, and everyone looks forward to celebrating not just my father-in-law's birthday, but also my mother-in-law's birthday every year. I told him to tell me his favorite restaurant, and he just went ahead and booked it himself. Such a troublesome man. If I had known about this, I would have given you a coupon for a different restaurant, my mother-in-law sighed. Normally, I would readily agree, but this time I couldn't muster a smile because of the waiter. I was feeling apologetic. My mother-in-law suddenly became serious. Something happened, didn't it? Even when I tried to avoid her gaze, she quickly held my cheeks and brought my face close to hers. I confessed everything, and after thinking for a while, my mother-in-law's eyes sparkled. And so, on the day of my father-in-law's birthday, I visited the restaurant again, dressed in the same outfit as last time. Welcome, we're pleased to have you here. Lost amidst my gathered in-laws, I entered the restaurant, keeping my gaze lowered. The chef, as formal as ever, greeted me with a nod and a warm welcome, which slightly eased the tension I felt. However, unlike the counter we sat at last time, this time we were in a spacious private room. As each of us settled at the banquet table, I noticed the figure of the waiter bringing drinks. As he walked past me, his dismissive attitude and his habitual clicking tongue were just as they had been. In fact, the moment the chef left the room, it seemed as if he had discarded all his responsibilities as a waiter. With a dismissive throw of his words, he literally abandoned his service. Do you want a drink? Pour it yourselves. He showed no embarrassment and pointed to the drinks with such a flippant tone. Frankly, this is not a place for people like you understand? This is a social spot for the wealthy. The presence of poor people like you lowers its prestige. He said this as if it were self-evident and then heaved a dramatic sigh. And that is your best outfit? You look so poor. Haven't I told you before? A bottom-rung, poor, unintelligent glutton who can't even appreciate good food, especially a woman, should never show her face here again. Can't you even remember such a simple thing? Really, spare me. Just go home. With a shooing motion, he waved us off as if chasing away an animal. Furthermore, when we remained silent and unmoving, he seemed to grow irritated and let out another disgusted tisk. At that moment, my mother-in-law, who had been silent until now, asked in a calm voice, "Is that all you have to say?" "What? What is it, old woman? Where did you buy those clothes? Aren't you embarrassed to go out in that?" In response to the waiter's retort, my mother-in-law's demeanor changed dramatically. I felt a sudden chill, but he didn't seem to notice. "You don't want to upset Mom. She's far more terrifying than Dad. My husband once told me this and I felt I was getting a glimpse of the truth behind his words. Whether he sensed her intensity or not, the waiter looked a bit puzzled. So you're the son of the owner of this place, right? Well, then it's perfect that your father is here. Huh? With that cue, the chef who had disappeared from sight comes carrying a large tablet. As per your instructions, I've connected you to the owner. He's seen everything. What? My dad? The waiter's outlandish cry made me internally retort, even in such a time, not father, but dad, huh? You're out of character. However, the waiter himself was far from calm. What? Ugh! He stammered, completely ignoring my mother-in-law. Owner, as you can see, I appreciate our past dealings, but it won't continue as before. I'm going to sell all the shares I hold in this place worth about $10 million. Despite addressing the owner, she turned her eyes sharply towards the waiter, delivering her words with the clarity of a biting frost. It's a good lesson for you to see what can happen because of your attitude, isn't it? The waiter, finally grasping the critical situation, stammered again like a frog frozen under a snake's gaze. You are... He finally remembered about respect. My mother-in-law cut him short. Oh, I'm just a poor person who doesn't need to give you her name. The waiter dropped to his knees as if his legs gave out. It was then that the owner's voice resonated from the tablet. Madam, I really don't know how to apologize for this. I feel terrible having to do this over a screen. My son has done something truly outrageous. I'm sincerely, deeply sorry. I don't care about me. Cutting off the owner's desperate pleas, my mother-in-law showed a clear sign of anger for the first time. Clara is my pride and joy. When my son told me he wanted to marry her, I went to see her work from afar. Her work was meticulous, polite, and diligent. She's an honest woman who doesn't change her attitude depending on who she's dealing with. She doesn't deserve to be looked down upon by someone like you. No matter what clothes she wears, she's always bright, a bit clumsy, and has an irresistibly cute smile. Claire's just that way. No matter what you think, I want to fill her belly with delicious food, and watching her enjoy her meals is my happiness. Well, I won't forgive you for hurting my dear daughter again and again. My mother-in-law's determined statement overlapped with the image of my own mother in my mind, despite the differing appearances and demeanors. My mother-in-law, who was doing her best to protect her daughter-in-law, felt just like my own mother. When I noticed my husband was gently embracing my shoulder, and I realized I was crying from the warmth of his touch and the handkerchief he handed me. Sorry, I don't want to dirty your handkerchief with my snot. Can you get me a tissue? While my husband was trying to hold back his laughter on one side, I needed many tissues for my tears. During all this, my mother-in-law continued to press the waiter firmly and unyieldingly. What's important to me is the entire family here. None of us should be belittled by you. Our outfits that you snickered at are indeed no-name brands from chain stores. But for my dear family who are willing to joyfully wear clothes that they know will be looked down upon and are not even to their own tastes, I feel proud. You don't need to judge people by their fashion at first glance. As long as you cherish what's important, everything else doesn't matter. I'm sorry. Facing my mother-in-law's wrath head-on, the waiter began to tremble and apologized. You're absolutely right, madam. He was unbelievably rude to your family even though he didn't know they were related to you. I'll disinherit my son this instant. Dad! Don't call me with that embarrassing name, you failure. I made a mistake in how I raised you. Your younger brother will take over the company. Don't ever come back. Dad! The owner's son, Desone, clung to the tablet but was let out by the concerned chef. I'm sorry for involving you in this mess. What are you talking about? What happened was just clearing the way to enjoy a delicious meal. Today we're going home saying how tasty and fun it was. Well, if I had to say something to everyone who came along with us, it would be more than just I'm sorry, right? Huh? Puzzled by her bright insistence, I blurted out, Mother-in-law, you're so cool. The unexpected compliment slipped out of my mouth, causing my husband to burst out laughing, and the rest of my in-laws to clap and laugh heartily. After that, the owner's son seemed to be struggling to live in a small apartment after being kicked out of his large family home. The owner also found himself scrambling to stabilize his rising stocks after learning that my determined mother-in-law had really switched her stocks to another company, and her friends followed suit, causing the previously soaring stock price to fluctuate. I hope these days as family will continue forever and ever. That way we can always laugh together. With that thought, I felt like crying from laughter again and hurriedly started looking for a tissue.